Hello everyone and welcome to a game that actually made me change the title of one of my previous videos because I already had this title in use, but when I saw this game I realized that game can no longer have that title, that this game must now have this title. It is Karen Grigorian, Armenian chess master. Later on he became an international master against Roman Dzindzichashvili, who born in the Soviet Union, later on represented Israel, and later on represented the United States. I've first heard of him when I watched Searching for Bobby Fischer for the first time. He actually appears in the movie, so if you haven't seen it, do check it out. Quite a nice movie. But he is fairly well known, and by that I mean very well known. And the photo I'm using for this video is from 1992, I believe, and the game took place in 1969, so it is well, a bit of an older photo, but I couldn't find a photo from this from this year, or even remotely from around this time. So that's why I'm using a sort of a modern photo for an older game. And yeah, it's the same tournament, the Soviet championship, where Rashid Nejmedinov played his famous queen captures on f6 move. Only he played it in 1962. This was played in 1969, and he faces like I said, Karen Grigorian, who is I believe he was a three-time Armenian champion, a very, very strong player, and he even defeated Mikhail Tal twice. He didn't defeat Tal in his prime. He also beat him twice in the 1973 Soviet Championship and in 1976 Soviet Championship. But I just wanted to get for you guys to get an idea of what kind of a player he is. He is a very strong player because when I show you this game, you will probably think it's like Morphy versus amateur, but no, we're actually dealing with two very, very strong players here. Later on, Roman Dzindzichashvili also got his grandmaster title, and he was a very well-respected grandmaster, and still is, I believe. Yeah, let me just check real quickly. Yeah, he's still alive at age 79. Okay, very nice. So let's check it out. Karen with the white pieces opens with pawn to e4. We have pawn to e5, knight f3, knight to c6, and bishop to b5. Okay, the Ruy Lopez is on the board, and usually you will see a6, Morphy's defense, sometimes knight to f6, the Berlin defense, and also pawn to f5. The Yanish Gambit are the three most popular options. But here we have bishop to c5. This is the so-called classical defense, not so popular nowadays, but I'm thinking that once you see this game, it might become popular again. So bishop c5, c3, we have pawn to f5, the Cordel Gambit, where that, if accepted, can lead to some very, very interesting play. For example, e captures, then you go after the knight, then white shouldn't really move the knight, white should go after the bishop, grab more space here. Let's say e captures, d captures on c5, queen e7 check, bishop to e3, captures on g2, and okay, rook g1, it's still sort of better for white, but it does feel like you want to have black here. So that's why no one really plays e captures on f5. d4 is the main move. We have f captures on e4, and now you could play bishop captures on c6. You could also play d captures on c5, but here we have knight to g5, just keeping the tension, and bishop back to b6. We have pawn to d5 going after the knight, and now pawn to e3. And there are some games that reach this position, but here we have d captures on c6, and it is now, as of move 8, that this position has never been reached again. And believe it or not, black is already winning here. But he has to play e captures on f2, which was not played here. He goes b captures on c6, just goes after the bishop on b5. And okay, now if you really want to survive this with white, you have to play bishop captures on e3. But that's besides the point. That's not why I'm showing you this game. So in the game, pawn to h4 was played by Grigorian. And now, how do you react to this? What can black play here? Of course, e captures on f2 is an automatic. So e captures on f2 check, king to f1, and c captures on b5. On the other hand, you might be thinking, why did white allow the bishop on b5 to be captured? Well, to play queen d5, of course. The move you seen in the thumbnail, threatening queen to f7 checkmate, and once you stop that, queen captures on a8 will happen. So for the moment, white is down 3 pawns, but he will grab a rook, so he will be up a rook. We have knight h6, stopping checkmate, and now just queen captures on a8. And here, Grigorian is up a full rook. Okay, he does have, the opponent has 3 pawns for the rook, but I mean, it still is a full rook. The problem is there is no escape here for white. Pawn to c6. Okay, the black queen can't really move anywhere, but it's not easy to trap the white queen, because if you move the bishop, let's say bishop to a6, then queen captures on d8, or you can't play bishop to b7, so it's not that easy. You could play something like queen to c7, then try and trap it with bishop to b7, but the king is here, so you first have to castle, so that's a lot of moves. So what was the idea behind pawn to c6? Well, knight to e4 happens, going for knight to d6 check, and here we have castles, and now many moves you could play here, but bishop to g5 is the move that was played in the game, which makes Roman's next move even more spectacular. Feel free to pause the video, even though I don't think you have to, and try to find the winning idea for black while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on finding this move that most often wins every game. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is pawn to b4. This is what Roman Dzindzichashvili played, and he was in this position on move 14 that Karen Grigorian resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. The problem is bishop to a6 check is unstoppable. There is nothing you can do to prevent this. Is just that bad. For example, especially if you take the queen, and the queen hanging is what makes this game so good. I mean, bishop captures on d8 is met with bishop to a6 check, c4, and bishop captures on c4 is checkmate. The black king has no squares. This is just total destruction. And another thing, after b4, let's say you play pawn to c4. Of course, you don't want bishop to a6 to come with check. It doesn't matter. Bishop to a6 still. Now the queen can be captured by the bishop and by the queen, but the problem for white is that checkmate is still hanging in the air, and also the white queen is now hanging. And once you stop checkmate, pawn to b3 has to be played. Then you just down a full queen, and that's pretty much it. That's the story of this game. Really remarkable. Just pawn to b4, threat bishop to a6, and white resigned here. So I've never actually seen the classical Ruy Lopez played on the top level any lately, but if you guys like this, I mean, nothing odd was happening here. Like c3 is a fairly standard idea. I mean, there's a bishop on c5. Of course, you want to challenge it. Pawn to f5. Maybe you get a good game out of this Cordel Gambit. Give it a try. Maybe it works for you. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Very nice Immortal by Roman Dzindzichashvili, the Immortal B4 game, if you will. I would like to wish a very happy 3rd birthday to Ray, and I would like to thank Michael Hildebrand, Johan Hoibai, Lorenzo Tessiore, and Fred Ackerman for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions, such as this one, and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day. Today I went with a shorter video. It's Sunday, but tomorrow we continue strong. See you soon.